This is the Oculus Quest 2. I'm actually not sure why it isn't charging. It's dead right now, but who cares? The point is, this is a pretty interesting headset. It's actually probably the best standalone headset we've ever gotten, maybe even the best headset period, although there's been a lot of debate around a couple different aspects of it, and a lot of people are unsure whether they want to buy one. Like me. But then I just kinda did it, and now I'm here. So today I want to talk very in-depth about what I like about this headset, and what I don't like, and I want to tell you exactly whether you should buy one. I'm going to go into everything, but just in case you don't want to see everything, there's going to be timestamps in the description so you can really see what you actually care about this headset. But first, this video is sponsored by Elementia Studios memberships. I've recently opened up membership opportunities on my channel, which is a way that you can join the channel and get awesome perks that are exclusive to this YouTube channel and this YouTube channel only. If you're a fan of my regular content, or just fans of my beautiful face, we have some pretty cool perks available. At different tiers, you can choose exactly what you want to get. It's a cool way to support the channel, and it's also a cool way for me to get you guys more cool things. You can get custom emojis, which I don't think there's any other way to give my audience that, so I think it's a really cool opportunity. And there's a bunch of other perks as well. If you get one of the higher levels, you can even get access to early videos that aren't even out for everyone else yet, or completely new, unique videos that no one else will be able to see. I haven't quite decided what those will be yet, but I'm open to suggestions. To join, or at least to check out what we have to offer, you can press the join button right next to the subscribe button, or if for some reason that isn't showing up, because sometimes it just doesn't, you can also check out the link in the description, which will be, again, right below the subscribe button. But, okay, let's get back to the video. First of all, let's talk about the design of this thing. Is it a good design? Is it sturdy? Does it just look nice? And I'd argue, yeah. I mean, let's face it, folks, white is the future. That didn't come out right. The color scheme of this is white and black. There's no color to be seen. It's like the Stormtrooper designs, which were, interestingly enough, designed to strike fear into the viewer, apparently. They were supposed to be scary. Not what I think of when I think of Stormtroopers. They don't look all that menacing to me. I mean, it's a well-known fact they just can't hit anything. Maybe that has something to do with it. But anyway, this is very much the same whole color scheme. It's white and black, it's very sleek. There's no real eyesores on here. Sure, you have the little cameras on the front so that it can like see around you and use tracking to kind of figure out where things are in relation to you, but like they don't really pop out that much, and it doesn't really bother me. Although now that I look at it, the more I look at it, the more I'm annoyed by that. But just the cameras on the front, great. Okay, now I'm never gonna unsee it. You've got the charging cable and the earbud jack on the side here, and on the other side you have the power button, and right beneath you have the volume. I was kind of concerned with how I would be able to find the controls when I'm in VR, if I would be having to take the headset off at first over and over again to find where things are, and that's not the case. I actually, pretty much as soon as I took a look at where these buttons are, I knew and I could remember instantly, with basically no problems. That being said, when I do take off the headset sometimes just to take a break, or even just to look around me and take note of my surroundings, sometimes I do bump into the power button here. I'll just be taking it off from the sides, and I'll push the button here, and that's not fun. But that's a rare occurrence, and I feel like that's just me needing to get used to it. Even so, it's a bit annoying. I've heard a lot of complaints about the strap here, and it has not bothered me in the slightest. Adjusting it is a bit weird because you have to move these little strips here, which do not want to move well. They don't really, I mean, at least they're snug, but you really have to. But overall, like, once you find one setting, it should work pretty well, and you won't have any problem with it. It's not that big of an issue. What is a bit of a bigger problem is the lenses themselves here. Now, there's only 3 settings for how far apart they are for your eyes. Normally, you'd be able to slide them however you want. Here you have 3 preset settings, and if that's not quite right for your eyes, I guess you just have to deal with it. Thankfully, it's fine for me, so that's great. But for some people that might be a bit of an issue because maybe you won't fit quite nicely in one of those settings. I think everyone who's tried this so far has had basically no problems with it. So it's fine, I think, for almost everyone, but there is the odd chance you might have problems with it, and it might just not be perfectly clear for you. But you can find out just by doing a quick little eye test to find out how far apart your eyes are. The information for how far apart the lenses are and can be is online. You can compare it to your actual eye distance, and you can find out if it'll work for you. Just a little oversight that I think they could have easily fixed. Let's take a look at the controllers real quick. Now, the controllers are really nice. In my experience, these buttons here, A, B, X, and Y, stuck a little bit when I first got it. They were just a little bit sticky, but afterwards it's fine. You can push them just perfectly nice. The design's really smooth. It fits in your hands nicely. And everything, again, is really easy to find. It is a bit annoying trying to tell the difference between A and B or X and Y, but like you get the hang of it eventually. I just feel like maybe they could have like added, I don't know, a groove, an indent, something on the buttons to make them easier to tell apart. And of course they come with wrist straps, which have come in handy more times than I can count already, and I've only had this thing for like a month. So those I use all the time, just in case, you know. At first, I wasn't really sure. I never knew why these rings were here. I think, like, obviously it's to stand it nicely on your little, like when you want to put them down. But, like, I thought that maybe it was also to protect your hand and the buttons in case you accidentally smash into something here. That's not the case, because there is actually, and I looked this up, there's sensitive wiring inside these rings here. So while that would have, I think, been a good idea, no, if you hit with these rings, you're not protecting the actual controller. There is actual wiring in these rings that you're going to be potentially damaging. But I've hit a few things with these, and they seem pretty sturdy. They can take a bit of a beating, not that you want to. And that's where the actual Guardian comes in, which I'll talk about in a bit. So setting up your Quest is really easy. As soon as you put it on, you're going to be seeing the setup process. There may be like a little update or two that you have to do, which might take a little while, but as soon as that's done, you're basically ready to go. You can download your games, and you can just get started. It's that easy. It's really quick, and probably the day you get it, you can already get some good playtime in, which is not the case for some normal, regular consoles. So that's pretty sweet. And you can tell Oculus is definitely trying to make this really accessible. They're not trying to make this super complicated, even though VR is still a pretty new thing. Unless you're counting like really old stuff like, I don't know, the Virtual Boy. But we don't talk about that. VR as a reliable source of entertainment has only been around for a while, and so you'd imagine that it would be a bit hard to get the hang of these things, but it's actually pretty easy to set this thing up, and within your first day you can get some good playtime. Again, the first thing you're gonna see is a menu. Now they actually did an update for this menu like, I think yesterday as of the day I'm recording this. So it's been changed around a bit from other videos you might see, but it's really easy to navigate. You've got your library here, you've got the store here, you've got your all your little, it's called sharing settings, so you can like take a video and stuff, or you can cast to another device, which, side note, casting is also really easy. It's so much fun, like just letting other people see what you're doing or watching what other people are doing. It's really fun. And you can also, you can record videos. The weird thing is, until that update I mentioned, you couldn't edit your videos or make them shorter if you like had to cut some stuff out for length reasons. They didn't add that until yesterday, which I find a bit odd, at least unless I'm forgetting something obvious. You also get these really cool virtual environments around you, which you can explore. Not really, you can take a look at, and they look really nice. I wish you could add your own custom ones, but they already have some really cool presets that you can use. I hope they add custom ones in the future, but this has already been out for a few months, so I don't know. That's basically the menu. It's really simple. You can find everything you need to know. Let's talk about the Guardian real quick. Now, the Guardian is basically the way that you make sure you don't actually like hit objects while you're playing. I am careless, and so I've managed to still do it. But basically what you do is you draw on the ground in your real camera, which the cameras are not that great, by the way, I'll say that. They're only in black and white, which whatever. But then they also are very fuzzy, and if there's like any sort of obstruction in the way of one of the cameras, then the rest can't really compensate for that, and so the vision, it's hard to describe, but it starts to get all wobbly. And it's very strange. And so using your controller or your hand, we'll get to hand tracking in a bit, you draw on the ground and you create a boundary so that if you go near or past that boundary while you're playing, it'll appear in front of you, letting you know you're getting close to an actual object you could hit. If you're not near the Guardian, then obviously this grid won't show up, but if you do get close, it'll show up to let you know that you're getting close to something you could actually hit, and it works really well. because the tracking is so good, you'll never go past the Guardian and it'll be the quest's fault. It will always let you know. You'll always know exactly where you are, and if you're too close to an object, as long as you set your Guardian right, you leave a few feet of space before any obstacle, so you have time to avoid it, and you're good. And as long as you have a pretty decently sized play area, you also don't get too annoyed by seeing your Guardian come up in your vision all that often. Sometimes if you're in a smaller play area, then if you move your arm in front of you ever so slightly, you'll see the Guardian come up in front of you, blocking the gameplay, which is a bit annoying, but it's necessary if you're going to have such a movement-oriented system like this. And the cool thing about the Guardian is it doesn't have to be one specific shape. It doesn't have to be a square or a circle or anything like that. You can literally, I've done some experiments with it. I have tried to make the wackiest Guardian shapes I can just to see what it allows, and you can basically do anything. You can put the Guardian wherever you want, and it's fine. You can make the entire Guardian one long oval if you want. Okay, so that's cool. So setting up the quest is good. It works. It works really well, and it's intuitive. But how's the actual gameplay? First of all, the display, the graphics that this system has are overall pretty nice. Other systems that connect to a PC are better, obviously. Because this is a standalone headset that doesn't need to connect to a PC, the games that are for the standalone headset obviously will have downgraded graphics, but usually you can't tell even. There are times where you can notice. I've been playing a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted recently, and you can tell some of the textures are very blurry, more so than they have to be. That's probably the worst game for it that I've seen. Just really awful textures sometimes, and I don't know why. But most games are perfectly fine, and if you do have a PC you can play games through that with the link cable, and then you get an even better graphics experience. And gameplay-wise, the tracking works really well. There's very few times where the tracking actually is poor. It always knows where you are, where the controllers are, and you can play pretty smoothly. It's very immersive. It works super well. I had family play Richie's Plank Experience, and it was so real, it worked so well, I had someone almost throw themselves backward against a wall because they didn't want to fall off the plank. Now, I will say the hand tracking on this system, yes, it comes with hand tracking, in case you weren't aware, is a bit less than stellar. It works most of the time, but if you're using it for certain games, it just seems to work less well than others. Some don't even support it, obviously, because you need a controller. But sometimes the hands just don't seem to want to work. It's usually fine, but I really don't use hand tracking unless I have to, or if I'm in the weird mood where I want to. So if you're looking for hand tracking, it doesn't work often enough that it annoys you, if that makes any sense. Your hands will sometimes glitch out, sometimes they'll just completely disappear. It's a bit finicky, and that's a bit of a problem that I think will be fixed whenever the, Quest 3 comes out. Now, one thing I really wanted to do with the Quest when I got it was play it outdoors, because then you have so much more space to set up your Guardian, and you can also look absolutely insane to any neighbors watching because of the toaster on your face. But unfortunately, obviously with the lenses you have on the Quest, I just realized it's not even here, I plugged it in. With the lenses you have on the Quest, they basically can act as a magnifying glass, so if there's any ray of sunlight that gets in the lenses, it can fry the display, and that's why at all times you have to keep it away from sunlight. You have to keep it basically out of the way, so maybe on a cloudy day it would work to do it outside, but it doesn't work in direct sunlight. It doesn't work in the dark. There's some limitations, but that doesn't really matter to me anyway, because I'm not going to be playing it in the dark, and I'm not going to be playing it probably outside. Anyway, it was just a little idea I had, just, something to keep note of. One thing that there's been a lot of complaint about is the fact that you have to have a Facebook profile to actually use the Quest. And obviously, Facebook is a very shady company. They've done some messed up stuff. I don't trust them in the slightest. But the biggest thing that people have had a problem with for this is that sometimes their accounts will get banned immediately or later for no reason whatsoever. They'll have had no misconduct. They won't have done anything wrong in any sort of way, and Facebook will still ban their account or suspend it temporarily. This hasn't happened to me, and it doesn't happen to the majority of people, but it's the biggest issue surrounding the Quest. And a fair percentage of people have experienced this. Oculus support is willing to help, but I really don't think that in the first place you should need a Facebook account to use the Quest. And at the same time, you really shouldn't even have to run the risk of getting banned for no reason anyway. It's really odd. Thankfully, it's still uncommon, just not as uncommon as I'd like it. The game library is also really solid, like, even though obviously you don't have all the games that a headset that needs PC would have, but like there's still a huge variety of games here, including stuff from recognizable franchises like, again, FNAF, you have The Walking Dead, Jurassic World, which I don't have the Jurassic World VR game yet, but it looks really good, even though I'm not that interested in Jurassic Park World, whatever, in general. This seems really cool, so I'm gonna check that out. I really hope that they add Minecraft to the Quest soon. They still haven't done that, but I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, the Quest is an all-around good headset. There's just a few things that I think could obviously be done better, and that's kind of the same with consoles in general. Ultimately, I just kind of view these headsets as different consoles. Just it is a console as much as an Xbox or a PlayStation. It's just for a different kind of game and for a different kind of gameplay. And as with any of those, it has its issues, but for some reason I feel like people have been a lot more hard on the Quest than on any of those. Maybe that's just me, maybe that's just because I have been paying more attention to Quest news because it's a more developing thing. I don't know. It seems like people have been a lot more critical of it, and rightfully so. I do think that the Facebook account thing is just insane. Like, that shouldn't... It makes me feel icky, but I really don't have any problems with the headset. I think if you're gonna get a VR headset, this is definitely the one to try. Maybe that's just because I haven't really tried out any others. I've tried PlayStation VR, but that's about it. And from what I've heard from other people, this seems to be the best option in general. If you do have a PC, I'd recommend going for maybe a Rift instead, or a Vive, just because then you get access to more games, better graphics, all that. Although, even with the Quest, you do have that option to play games that need a PC. It's just, you need the extra link cable, and the prices are a bit higher, and the graphics are still a bit downgraded. It's just, ultimately, it's a decision you have to make. But overall, I really like this headset. I think if you're going to get into VR, this is a really good start. So, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you've gotten your hands on these headsets, because they are pretty low stock sometimes for some reason. Just, if you have one, let me know. Let me know if you want to have one, or if you have plans to get one very soon. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon with more normal FNAF content, as always. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.